This is Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, I'm glad you're still here. Now, back to the show. This has been Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching a special presentation of Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Hopping on, Toad.
Boomerang.
You mean El Kabong?
From Cartoon Network. You're watching a special presentation of Boomerang.
What's with you, Boo-Boo?
This is Boomerang.
Bye-bye. Oh, my darling Clementine.
Boomerang. Go to CartoonNetwork.com. Boomerang, it's all coming back to you. Coming up next, it's Huckleberry Hound on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Huckleberry Hound on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Huckleberry Hound on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Huckleberry Hound on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Huckleberry Hound on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been Huckleberry Hound on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Yogi Bear on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Yogi Bear on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Yogi Bear on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Yogi Bear on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Yogi Bear on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. has been Yogi Bear on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Quick Draw McGraw on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Quick Draw McGraw on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Quick Draw McGraw on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Quick Draw McGraw on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Quick Draw McGraw on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been Quick Draw McGraw on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Top Cat on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Top Cat on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Top Cat on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Top Cat on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Top Cat on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been Top Cat on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Find out more. Go to CartoonNetwork.com. Boomerang, it's all coming back to you. Coming up next, it's Magilla Gorilla on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Magilla Gorilla on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
How much is that gorilla in the window?
You're watching Magilla Gorilla on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
How much is that gorilla in the window?
This has been Magilla Gorilla on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
How much is that gorilla in the window?
Coming up next, it's Adamant on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Adamant on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Adamant on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Adamant on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Adamant on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been Adamant on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Secret Squirrel on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Secret Squirrel on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Secret Squirrel on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. has been Secret Squirrel on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Smurfs on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's more of the Smurfs on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is the Smurfs on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching the Smurfs on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been the Smurfs on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network. To find out more, go to CartoonNetwork.com. Boomerang, it's all coming back to you. Coming up next, it's the Flintstones on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's more of the Flintstones on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is the Flintstones on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to the Flintstones on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to the Flintstones on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching the Flintstones on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been the Flintstones on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Jetsons on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's more of the Jetsons on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is the Jetsons on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to the Jetsons on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to the Jetsons on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been the Jetsons on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Scooby-Doo Show on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's more of the Scooby-Doo Show on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby and Scrappy-Doo on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Hide your sandwich in Scooby Snacks. Scooby and the gang are here to solve a mystery or two, unmask a few bad guys, and polish off that leftover pizza. It's time for Scooby-Doo on Boomerang. We will return with more ghosts, ghouls, and clues galore. Scooby-Doo will be right back on Boomerang. Looks like Scooby and the gang are hot on the trail of another mysterious troublemaker. It's more of Scooby-Doo on Boomerang. Everyone loves a good mystery, just like Scooby and the gang. You're watching Scooby-Doo on Boomerang. Well, that's all for Scooby-Doo on Boomerang. Chalk up another case solved for the Mystery Inc. gang, and there's still plenty of time to go to that groovy dance at the old barn. Coming up next, it's Looney Tunes on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Today, things are going to get a lot loonier around here. Welcome to Looney Tunes on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Don't go away. We'll return to Looney Tunes on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Looney Tunes on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We'll be right back with more Looney Tunes on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Looney Tunes continues on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. And now back to Looney Tunes on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Looney Tunes on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. And now, Looney Tunes continues on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. That's all, folks. On behalf of Bugs and his friends, thank you for watching Looney Tunes on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Tom and Jerry continues on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Tom and Jerry both know that action speaks louder than words. For the record, we prefer the action. It's Tom and Jerry on Boomerang. Coming up next, it's Casper and Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
My name is Casper. Good ghosts don't scare people.
Why, Ma? I'm going to play with the Cub Scouts.
I've got a fight.
Come join the fun and scare up a few laughs with Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's time for Casper and Friends.
My name is Casper. Good ghosts don't scare people.
We will return to Casper and Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Baby Huey wants to fish.
Now back to Casper and Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Casper and Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
My name is Casper. Good ghosts don't scare people.
Why, Ma? I'm going to play with the Cub Scouts.
I've got a fight.
That's all for now, but join us next time for more spirited fun with Casper and Friends.
Oh, Magoo.
Coming up next, it's Mr. Magoo on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Excuse me, young man. Could you direct me to seat 33, section 13? Oh, everyone has his hand out for a tip these days.
He's the master of myopic mayhem. He's Mr. Magoo, and he's on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Oh, Magoo, how much can you stand? Oh, Magoo.
You're watching Mr. Magoo on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Oh, this lawnmower will fix those wily weeds. Got too much. Just
for watching Mr. Magoo on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Oh, Magoo, how much can you stand?
Coming up next, it's Dexter's Laboratory on Boomerang. Dexter's opening his lab to the public, and you've got a front row seat. Stay on your best behavior, and whatever you do, don't push any buttons. Welcome to Dexter's Laboratory on Boomerang. We'll return to Dexter's Laboratory on Boomerang. We now return to Dexter's Laboratory on Boomerang. Dexter's Laboratory continues on Boomerang. You're watching Dexter's Laboratory on Boomerang. You're watching Boomerang. If Dexter's parents ask, play it cool and say you didn't see a thing. Thanks for watching Dexter's Laboratory on Boomerang. It's Mike, Lou, and Og coming up next, right here on Boomerang. Get your raft ready because we're sailing towards another episode of Mike, Lou, and Og right here on Boomerang. The natives are getting restless, so don't go anywhere. There's more of Mike, Lou, and Og on the way on Boomerang. There's still plenty of time to get away from it all. Really, really far away. You're watching Mike, Lou, and Og on Boomerang. Grass skirts and coconut tops are required on desolate tropical islands. Don't believe me? See for yourself because Mike, Lou, and Og continues on Boomerang. Well, that does it for Mike, Lou, and Og. But don't give up on that seashell collection because they'll be back again on Boomerang.
Let's go, girls!
You're watching the Powerpuff Girls, only on Boomerang. You're watching the Powerpuff Girls, only on Boomerang. You're watching the Powerpuff Girls, only on Boomerang.
Gotta catch 'em all? We've got 'em all. It's Pokemon, right here on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Pokemon will be right back here on Boomerang. And now, back to Pokemon on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. And now, back to Pokemon on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Pokemon on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Boomerang on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's more of Boomerang on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Boomerang on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. to Boomerang on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Boomerang on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching 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 Boomerang on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been Boomerang on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Super Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's more Super Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the Super Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is the Super Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to the Super Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to the Super Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching the Super Friends on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
special presentation of Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Hopping horn toad.
Boomerang.
You mean El Kabong?
From Cartoon Network. You're watching a special presentation of Boomerang.
What's with you, Boo-Boo?
This is Boomerang.
Bye-bye. Oh, my darling Clementine.
Boomerang. Go to CartoonNetwork.com. Boomerang, it's all coming back to you. Coming up next, it's Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This is Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We now return to Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. This has been Johnny Quest on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Space Ghost and Dino Boy on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Space Ghost and Dino Boy on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Herculoids on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Herculoids on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Thundar on Boomerang Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Thunder on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Centurions on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching The Slot Cats on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, Superman, Batman, Adventures continues on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. It's a day of action with Superman, Batman, Adventures on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. You're watching Superman, Batman, Adventures on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. We will return to Superman, Batman, Adventures on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Now back to Superman, Batman, Adventures on Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Justice League Unlimited on Boomerang.
And now, the Earth's mightiest heroes. It's Justice League on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
I've got you, sisters.
You're watching Justice League on Boomerang. Catch more Justice League tomorrow night on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the Batman on Boomerang. This is the Batman on Boomerang. You're watching the Batman on Boomerang. There's more of the Batman on the way on Boomerang. The Batman continues on Boomerang.
This has been Boomerang on Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
This is Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Hoppin' horn toad.
Boomerang.
You mean El Kabong?
From Cartoon Network.
What's with you, Boo-Boo?
This is Boomerang.
Bye-bye. Oh, my darling Clementine.
find out more about this new channel, go to CartoonNetwork.com. Boomerang, it's all coming back to you.